The philosophy behind the nature of real estate is really important. Most training and coaching organizations in real estate really focus on lead generation. My belief is that we're looking at it the wrong way. My belief is that when we're really good at what we do, really good, the best, we don't really have to do any lead generation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the House podcast. Please welcome Suze CUMMING on the show today. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
I'm really happy to be here with you, Jenny and Tony, and all your listeners. I'm really excited for the opportunity.
Awesome.
We're excited too because we heard you're a shark in the business.
We can't wait to pick your brain. This is so exciting for us.
Speaking of shark, let's just have an icebreaker question.
Okay.
What is your spirit animal?
You know, I was listening to you guys with Michelle. Michelle's a friend of mine, and she knew, and I was like, I don't know. So I looked it up because I thought you might ask, and it turns out it's a wolf.
Ooh.
And I'm kind of a lone wolf, so it kind of fit. But I was like, I want to be a dolphin like Michelle because it's way friendlier.
This is Michelle Reese, right?
Yes, Michelle Reese.
Nice.
Great. Where are you located right now?
I'm on Vancouver Island, just north of Victoria, overlooking the ocean.
Great. Such a beautiful location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's close by.
Yeah.
Let's do a little bit of an intro on you. So you are the founder and owner of The Nature of Real Estate. And can you give us a little bit of a play-by-play or your story and history, background perhaps in the real estate industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a really long story and a long history. I started in real estate in 1985.
Wow.
And I always like to tell people I was 12 when I started, like Michelle, but I actually wasn't. So I'm actually, I was 21 when I started selling in Toronto. And so I've been doing this for 38 years. I sold until 2008 when I moved to BC, to Whistler. And I actually started, it was interesting researching you guys a little bit and seeing about your retreats, because that's where I started in the coaching, was doing wilderness retreats with realtors.
Wow.
And, you know, doing the coach training and stuff to be able to facilitate those retreats. And then I loved the coaching. And so I continued on with the coaching, and then I added the negotiation courses and eventually loved those the most. And so I spend an awful lot of time, really helping people with the negotiation or the professional skills in real estate. But I do have some coaching clients, and I still really like that work.
The aspect of the wilderness retreats, I guess they would also require a lot of planning and integration of different modalities too, rather than just talking about negotiations. Right.
Yeah, that was really personal development, right? Taking people into uncomfortable environments and allowing for personal growth and change. In that kind of a natural environment. We went to, glacial lakes in the Pemberton ice fields. We did wilderness canoe trips in the northern Ontario, like really crazy stuff. It was super fun, but eventually it was just too much work, and the insurance was almost impossible to get.
Yeah.
Eventually. So it was like, okay, I'll do something else.
Makes sense. And so the transition from being like selling real estate to being a coach, what do you enjoy most about working in this field in particular?
So versus being in real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it's not lost on me that there are times where I wonder if I should go back, because it's more lucrative. I've got clients that are making over $2 million, and I suspect that I could probably do that. Had my success projected forward that I was having in Toronto. I just really like this more. I think there's a bunch of stuff I like about it more, and one is the freedom. I'm an international sailboat racer. And so to have the freedom to be able to go off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and compete internationally is really important to me. That doesn't sound like very pro real estate, but I really wanted to stay in real estate. I wanted to do the important work of helping consumers make great decisions about real estate, because I think when consumers are represented by a really wonderful realtor, they have a better life. They get better housing. They're financially better equipped. They have better relationships, and I still wanted to be a part of that world. And so it was really the perfect fit.
It sounds like a perfect synergy between the two worlds, doesn't it? Can you tell us a little bit more about the nature of real estate and how you partnered with the other coaches in the company, and perhaps more about your mission.
Yeah, so, the other coaches I only have a couple of coaches, and they're both very top producing real estate agents who have gone through coach training with me. I used to have a coach training certification course, and they went through it. And of maybe the 50 or 60 people that went through that course, these two just became really good friends. They're trusted, they have the same values as I have. And they are talented coaches and great realtors. So they kind of work with me, and that's sort of how that came to be. But the philosophy behind the nature of real estate is really important. Most training and coaching organizations in real estate really focus on lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. And the reason is that there's a real psychological stopping point for agents when it comes to lead generation, and they really need help. How do I do this? And they need support and, emotional support to be able to do that part of the business. But my belief is that we're looking at it the wrong way. My belief is that when we're really good at what we do, really good, the best, we don't really have to do any lead generation. People source us out because we're excellent at what we do. And if we think about that in other fields, an interior designer who is exceptionally good doesn't have to go around begging for business. A massage therapist who's really good at what they do has a full roster. And I believe that's true for realtors as well. And so our lane is definitely the professional skills that realtors need to do a great job for the consumer.
I like that.
So true. So we would love our listeners to have some little nuggets to take away with them after listening to this. How do you approach teaching your clients or these agents to negotiate effectively in the real estate industry? So like, what are some key strategies that you would recommend to achieving like successful outcomes for both the buyer and the seller on both sides?
Yeah, for sure. So there's not a 5-minute answer to how to be a brilliant negotiator. So the courses that I run are basically, it's taking, negotiation theory from the best business schools across North America and then applying it directly into real estate transactions. And it works. It's remarkable how well it works. But if I was to say, if somebody wants to make some changes without taking the courses, these would be it. Stop telling, start asking. Stop thinking you know, and be curious. Those two things would change everything about your interactions and how many clients you're able to attract and how you're able to help those clients make really good decisions.
Right. So be curious, open-ended conversation.
And ask you more
Sometimes,
questions.
yeah, and I went to a relationship summit last weekend. If you don't speak for 18 seconds, it'll actually force the other person to talk more. So you automatically, I think naturally, we want to like jump in
Fill the
and help
void.
and fill the void because we feel the pain of that awkward silence. But if you actually are silent for 18 seconds, the other person will speak.
Yeah.
Best.
And most likely they'll say what's on their mind, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
so uncomfortable. I don't know.
No, I love that. And 18 seconds is a long time. I bet, in our world, in our real estate world, when we're having conversations with potential sellers or buyers, or we're working to get an offer through, I bet it's 7
Order.
seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I bet most real estate agents would have a lot of trouble being quiet for
Yes.
7 seconds.
sure.
Yeah. I think it's wait up until 18 seconds. And that way, before you even speak. So, and most likely that other party will be speaking up. Yeah.
That's great.
What advice do you have for real estate agents when they encounter difficult negotiations with other parties? So I guess, for example, how could they handle situations when they're faced with that to achieve the best possible outcome for their clients?
Yeah, and so, one of the difficult parties that we come across in real estate negotiations is the other agent. It is one of the most difficult things is when the real estate agent on the other side of the negotiation is untrained, aggressive, what we call competitive, and trying to
Ego-driven?
win at all costs. When really a real estate negotiation needs to be collaborative to be successful, and so the art form as a highly skilled collaborative negotiator is to be able to shift that negotiator to become more collaborative, to increase the odds of being able to put a transaction together. And so we have a methodology and tactics and strategies to try to shift the attitude and the approach that difficult person is taking.
Okay, well, Tony just recently dealt with an agent. She was, they're seasoned.
Highly
They're
competitive.
highly competitive, seasoned.
Very much ego driven. That was just an observation. I say that without, feelings towards it. It was really interesting being in that role and facilitating the negotiation. I found I was definitely challenged. I was definitely, I think for me when I was going through it, one of the biggest things that I encountered was making sure that my emotional feelings towards his or her response did not overtake the deal, because clearly my clients wanted the deal to happen and they wanted to reach an agreement to have it go through. And at times I found it really difficult. And I normally don't find it difficult. This was a challenging situation.
Yeah.
In order to reach the finish line. I guess I have a question in relation to that scenario. When you're dealing with another party that is more ego driven and more concerned about that rather than the transaction and their clients, are there certain things that you can say to change the energy around those negotiations so that you can reach a win-win outcome?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that is in this list that I'm going to give you is managing your own emotions, and it sounds like you did a
Good.
fantastic job of that. And it's hard, right? Your
It was
buttons are
hard.
getting pushed. You're getting, you're angry and you're like frustrated and you're like anxious. And so the management of your own emotions is the beginning point, because then you're in a situation to observe their behavior
Yes.
and respond to it as opposed to react. So kudos to you on that. The other things there's sort of a list of them. And so one is really, no matter what, staying committed to understanding their needs and interests of the other party. So even when they're, and you say, okay, but what's most important to your client?
That's right.
And what's the ideal closing? Like, you just keep asking, because at some point, in most cases, they'll start to see that you actually care about their client and getting the transaction together.
Good advice.
So that's one thing. Another really important fact is what we call creating positive emotions. And this is usually in the term of compliments. So if I have
That did work, by the way.
Oh,
Then I got a response.
Is it called stroking your ego? Is that
That's what I called it.
okay?
right, we try not to make it sound that manipulative in the negotiation training. But an example with a really, really productive agent who just measures themselves on productivity,
Yeah.
you might say, I get that you're really busy. Oh my God, what did you do? Like 8 deals last month. You rock.
Mm.
And in most cases, they'll melt
Yeah.
because you just told them what they wanted to hear. And they're like, oh, I like her. How
Yeah.
can I help you?
We get along very well now, by the way, guys. And when I ask for something now, he's quicker at,
Oh, because you made him
Responding.
feel like he was the one that closed the deal?
well, she. Yeah, why not? Because that's the challenging thing. It's like, if you take a step back and it's not about the ego, it's about the clients having the result that they wanted. There were times where I wanted the ego to get involved. I was annoyed and angry because I'm human. But I did your advice too, which was kind of not saying anything, and then there was silence.
So, which is another, what we call these collaborative tactics, and you're hitting them intuitively, which is great. I mean, and most realtors who are successful, who have been doing negotiations for a long time, do tend to hit the tactics and strategies intuitively. What's cool is when we codify them, when we name them and codify them, it gives you much clearer access to them, but it also gives you an opportunity to see when they're being used against you.
Yes.
So you got this, and you did great, and you're already well along the spectrum on your negotiation skills just through your experience.
I haven't taken one of your courses. I'm going to be signing up right after. And I can imagine the way you're teaching is in sections or modules. So what percentage of it is like, okay, find the right home for the buyer, seller, and you put the contract in writing. And then second portion. And what's the percentage of it is about negotiation? And then what part of it is like the customer service and the customer centric?
Or emotion, like the
after.
emotion empathy stuff?
Well, the actual negotiation portion of it, like what percentage of it is how much of it is important? How important or how much of an importance does negotiation play in closing the deal?
That's a great question. It's a really, really big question. And, I'm going to answer it in not quite a direct way because, we think of negotiations as the moment when we're trying to get an offer signed or get a listing signed. But truly, a negotiation it begins when you first meet a potential client, virtually or for real. You're already starting to build the relationship, to build the communication channels and the networks, to understand who that person is, who those people are, and what they need. So the negotiation is the entire process. Because, if you have an incredible relationship with your seller, you're partnered with them, you're on the same page, you have a strong strategy, the offer negotiation is a very different process than if you don't have that solid relationship with your seller, where they don't trust you and respect you. There's conflict throughout. So it's a great question, but negotiation is what realtors do. We do customer service because it helps us with the negotiations.
I love how you answered that though, because it is so true. Most people think of negotiations as just negotiating the offer, the deal at the end. But that journey and knowing truly what the client wants and why they want it is an essential process of that in terms of answering their questions and getting them exactly what they want.
And
Yeah.
does also negotiation, when you're teaching in your course, is it also highlighting negotiating them hiring you as well? Or is it more when they put the offer together?
It's fun, right?
Mhm.
So the theory I teach, you could use to with your children
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, let's sign up right now.
or the traffic cop.
Or with your husband or boyfriend. Okay, yes. Okay. We're
So
we're in the front of the
We're
class right
in,
now.
we're
We're
in.
just listening.
yeah, so the negotiation concepts are human realities. It's that how do we apply those to real estate? And yeah, there's really three big negotiations in any real estate business, and one is with prospective sellers to be able to bring them on and get the listing, but get the listing and the relationship really solid.
Mhm.
The other is with prospective buyers to
Mhm.
build that relationship and have that trust and hopefully get your buyer rep agreement signed, which I actually think, even though we don't have to here in BC, I think it's a really smart idea. I think it's a really professional way to go. And then once you've negotiated with your prospective client, then you're going to negotiate on behalf of your client to be able to get their property sold or to be able to buy them a property or in many cases both. So it's the same theory, but how do we apply it to those different situations?
We were talking about managing someone else's emotions or our emotions and someone else's emotions, complementing them, collaborating tactics. Can you give us some prompts, some actual prompts for our listeners to use to be able to successfully communicate with the other party?
And so are we talking about the other party in the difficult stage, the difficult agent or the difficult seller?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's many different ways depending on who that person is. But I often talk to people and I say the very first thing you want to do is acknowledge them. Well, I think that commission's too high. Hey, I hear you. I can see you're really frustrated about the cost of selling your house. Acknowledge them. Um, because what happens when you acknowledge them is they were up for a fight
Mhm.
and you just said, I'm not going to fight because you're going to lose the fight. And so the next thing is a question to find out what's below the position. So the position is, I don't want to pay your commission, or I don't want to pay that much for the house, or I don't want to sign a BRA, whatever that position is. And so acknowledging it and then asking a question that takes you underneath it, because positions are opportunities.
Mm,
Mhm.
okay.
Right? So what is the most important thing to you, Mr. Seller, when you sell your house?
Mhm.
And in most cases, they're going to say something like, I get the most amount of money. And you go, I'm with you. I'm aligning with that. I also want to get you the most amount of money. Very seldom are they going to say, I want to pay the realtor as little as possible. It's just not true, right?
Yeah.
And so you shift the energy so that you can then have a conversation on the same side of the table about how you can work together and how you can make this a really collaborative and positive relationship.
It's wonderful.
So easy.
I know. What would be the next steps for someone who's a solo agent, and they want to maybe increase their volume of sales or transactions?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, right? I mean, that sort of brings in the coaching and the professional skills together. And I work with a lot of clients, and as every coach will tell you, who's doubled and tripled and quadrupled their business. Um, and so, what does it take, right? What does it take to double your business? Because you don't have twice as many hours to spend to be able to do that, and so you have to actually do something different. And what you want to do different is to get better at the professional skills. So if 90% of the listing presentations you go on, you're successful in getting a listing and you have a really positive relationship with that seller, a lot of things happen, right? So you save a lot of time because you're not going on listing presentations that you don't get. You save a lot of time because you have this great relationship with the seller, and so the seller is wanting to listen to your expertise. So offer negotiations go better, making decisions about house preparation go better, and a lot of time is saved. But also, they have such a great experience with you and they get such a great result that they are absolutely by default going to refer you. If you're really good at what you do, you don't have to ask for referrals. So, by increasing your professional skills, a whole lot of things fall in place that allow you to build a bigger business.
How about the agents who are currently solo? They want to increase their volume. They're resisting adding to their team because of the control, or they have the idea that they don't have time to teach someone. I have so many agents at my brokerage who are in that time. At this time, it's time for them to grow, but they're just not willing to let it go, or they don't know how to start. So where do you start? How do I start that push with them? How do I get them to the next stage?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this team model is, I think I have a controversial view on this, so this will be kind of fun.
Let's hear it.
I actually don't think everybody should build a team.
Yeah.
I think, some people should build a team. I think people who want to manage other people should build a team. I think people who have so many leads that they can't even come close to handling them and want to manage people should build a team. Those of us who are lone wolves, spirit animals, who don't want to manage people, who don't want to teach and train and nurture, we should really think twice before we build a team. Many of the people I talk to who want to build a team, they say to me, yeah, I really want to build a team. And when I dig down underneath that and find out why they want to build a team, they actually want the team members to do the business development. They want the team members to do the lead gen because they don't want to do it. And I'm like, that'll never work. In no world, in no team in North America, is it the team members do the lead generation so that the team leader can go to the cottage or go to the chalet and enjoy the money from that process. It's not. And so, if somebody really wants to build a team because they want this amazing group of people around them, and they can help that amazing group of people be successful in real estate, fantastic. Great. I think the team model is brilliant for that.
Yeah.
I guess my question would also center around how do they grow their volume then without feeling burnt out?
Yeah.
This is really good because I had asked one of my clients, if I could mention him on the podcast today. And I hadn't heard back from him because he's having a busy day, but I just got a yes. So he's a classic example for this. So one of my clients is Mike Majeski, and he's in Toronto at Remax Specialists. And I started working with Mike when he was doing, I don't know, a couple $100,000 a year, and he will break 2 million this year. And he has no team. He has one assistant who is just in the process of getting licensed. So, this idea that we need a team to be able to really grow a business in real estate is a bit of a myth. There's lots of solo agents who are doing massive volumes.
Are they automating things then and then relying on their assistant to buy time back with their families? I think that's kind of what you're getting at too, right? For the burnout.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the burnout thing's a factor. And, that's the one thing that I do coach. What I love to coach is very high producing agents who need me to say, you need a weekend with your partner.
Yeah.
and help them be able to carve out that time and make a way. And, the truth is you just have to be willing to lose a little bit of business. When I was a real estate agent, I took the summers off. I took 14 weeks a year off when I was an agent, and I was doing 50 transactions a year. And I remember I'd take the summers off, and I wasn't a little bit off. I was like way off, way up in northern Canada with my kid, banging around in canoes, and people would go, "I can't believe it. You're gonna lose so much money." And I'm like, "No, you know what? I'm gonna be banging around in canoes at the Arctic Circle making money. Money's gonna get deposited into my bank account while I'm in the Arctic Circle." Because, you would refer the business to someone, right? And you'd get a referral fee from it. And so it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also, you'd probably be rejuvenated and lit up after that trip.
Yeah, for sure. You'd feel great. And you had life, and you had life balance, and you had stories to tell, which meant people, really enjoyed having conversations with you, which meant you had more chance to attract clients. And yeah.
What are the biggest challenges that you see real estate agents facing now? And how do you help them overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so I think now and forever, and going back 38 years and probably going forward 38 years, the biggest challenge that real estate agents have is business. I call it business development. Other people call it lead generation. I mean, that's always been true because it's hard. You got to do it. And it's, everyone would love it. Okay, just hand me clients, and then I'll be lovely with them, and I'll show them homes, and I'll help them choose which home to buy. That it's a really idealistic view of real estate. The big part of real estate is that you have to earn the right to represent people, and you have to find people first. And it's hard. And most agents that I see that are struggling haven't done the work, both skills development and the internal personal work, to overcome the dissonance that gets created when we are faced with the reality of having to do business development.
So you have put through over 6,000 Canadian realtors through your program. What is the magic formula in your program? So what's your current offerings? What does that course look like? How many days does it take? What's the commitment that the realtor needs to make?
Okay, so thank you. It's a little opportunity to talk about my stuff. So
Yes.
I have new designations. So for the last 12 years, I've been licensing a designation from the U.S. That relationship faltered during the pandemic, and so I resigned from that organization. I mean, I was just freelancing with them, but I did license their material. So I resigned from that organization, and now with the coaching and tutelage of Michelle Risi, I have created a new set of certifications that are Canadian, owned by me, so no one can mess with them.
Oh,
Nice.
great.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. So it's the first course they take is the AREN, Accredited Real Estate Negotiator. It's 2 days, 3 hours per day. It's online on Zoom. It's small groups. It's very interactive. A lot of breakouts. And you say, what's the magic sauce about it? For sure, the magic sauce is me. I'm super attendant. I'm conscious. I'm integrating. I'm getting everybody to move outside their comfort zone. And the feedback that I get is off the wall good, and always has been, because I love teaching. The next course after that, and the first course is a prerequisite for the next course, is the PREN, which is the Professional Real Estate Negotiator. And I just ran the first one today. It was a sold out course. I have another course in a week and a half that's also sold out. They're going so well, and it was just I ran it. But anyway, I just ran it, and it's so good. It's a little rough yet. First time you run a course, right? It's timing.
But no one knows except for you.
Well, and these people, they're all going to help me, right? I mean, I've asked for feedback. I say, well, what are we going to cut out to short? It's great. I mean, it's a process, right? Any really authentic course development is a process. But what it is it's taking the core concepts or the negotiation theory and applying it to our real estate presentation. So it's specifically the listing presentation, the buying presentation, and then the offer presentation. And so how do we take the negotiation skills from the first course and apply them to those?
Yeah, I mean, so these the stamp, your stamp is on it. Are the agents, I guess, using that stamp and kind of putting it into their marketing material?
Yeah, there's a really beautiful logo and a certificate and a badge, so you can put it on social media, but I actually help them learn how to speak about their both the designation and the negotiation skills in their presentation, because it's a pretty serious value add.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Well,
would
it's
be.
just, yeah, it's, I was a member of the certified luxury
Us too.
institute, and
Yeah.
I like threw it out in the garbage. I was like, what am I going to do with this? They didn't teach me a thing. My other question before I forget is uh, it PDP? Can you gain PDP credits for it?
Great question, no. And here's another controversial one for you. I honestly, every time I try to deal with BCREA, there is so much red tape,
Yeah.
and I'm just not a red tape person.
You're allowed to say that here. We get it.
Yeah, I know, and I'm independent. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with BCREA. I mean, I think they're a good organization, but honestly, the red tape to get a course accepted isn't worth it. And I love teaching to people who are purely there for the education and not there for the PDP credits.
Yep.
Fair.
100%.
Just had to ask.
No, I liked that question. It's good to know.
Absolutely.
How do you, so you're teaching so many different types of courses and you have so many different skill sets. How do you, for the one-on-one coaching that you do, because you said that you offer that sometimes, how do you determine on a discovery call that a one-on-one client is a good candidate for your program or for you to work with?
Yeah, so that's great. It's a really good question, and it's one of the reasons I like to have my affiliate coaches. I will not coach lead gen, and it's not that I don't think it's important, and I don't think it's that they don't need a coach for lead gen. It just, as a coach, gets unbelievably tiresome after 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It just does, right?
Mhm.
And it's not my highest and best use. I am incredibly strategic. I am incredibly strong in negotiations, and I'm really good at understanding the psychology behind the people involved in real estate transactions. And so I want to work with people who are doing transactions so that, that stuff that I'm really good at is having an impact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if they're looking for a lead gen coach, I just send them to one of my coaches. And it's not like a judgment thing. Like, I get it. I totally get it. I'm just like, you don't want me. I'm just going to tell you to do it or don't do it. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to nurse you through it.
Yeah.
And my coaches will.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't stop there. Once you get the lead, you got to work through that, right? And how do you approach people who have like different skill levels and experience in the industry? Does your negotiation kind of change based on where they're at and the type of clients that they're working with?
Yeah, so in coaching, of course it does, right? I mean, I am an international coaching federation coach, which is a really pretty high level of accreditation. So I'm a good coach. I can coach people at a pretty deep level. And absolutely, there's no program. It's who are you and what do you need and how can I help? So for sure. A different and probably more interesting question is, how do I deal with different levels of experience and expertise within a class?
Yeah.
And that one I've taken really seriously. I've spent some time working with Hollyhock, which you guys would know up from Quadra Island, on facilitation skills for adult learning. Because it's really important. If I get someone who's done hundreds and hundreds of deals and they're in my foundations course, and I get someone who's brand new in real estate and hasn't done a deal yet, that's a huge challenge. And so the course has been designed and the breakouts, and I address it right at the beginning so that each of them knows, how I'm going to be adjusting the different exercises and breakouts to make sure that they're getting the best learning. The feedback I always get is, I thought it was going to be below me and it was amazing. Or I thought this was going to be too complicated for me and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that must have something to do with your negotiation skills and setting the expectations.
A good one. That's perfect. You get it. You get it. You girls get the negotiations thing. I love it.
Can you walk us through a success story that you've had with a client, and I guess the impact that your coaching has had on one of your clients' careers?
Sure, I sure can. I'm just seeing if I got approval from another client or not
Yeah,
yet.
fair enough. We
I
appreciate
love
that
this. I
too.
love
We
this.
appreciate it because we do the
I
same
should have
thing.
asked a few days ago, right? And they're like busy. Well, here's one. Here's my client. Holy explanation. I just put 3 houses on MLS since yesterday. I replied to, and this happened, and then they're getting showings, and there's already offers registered.
Amazing. I love it.
This is real time, folks. Okay.
So, yeah, I think, I mean, the only person I clearly have permission from is Mike Majeski. And so, and I think he's a good example. And so, Mike is a top performing agent in Mississauga office of Remax specialists, and he works in Etobicoke. And yeah, his business literally went from a couple $100,000 a year, tearing his hair out, no free time. I don't think he was addicted to anything, but he was stressed out enough that he was at risk of that. Like so many realtors, right? Realtors all walk, oh my God, he got ADD. And I'm like, no, you have anxiety because you're not organized. You're not calm. You're worried all the time. And that's very typical. And really, success in real estate means stopping that cycle of anxiety. Will I have enough money? Will I ever get another listing? Will this happen? Will that happen? And self-managing the emotions and building the discipline to do what it takes, gaining the skills, learning from your failures. You're going to fail in this business. It's, there's going to be listings you don't get. There's going to be buyers who don't want to work with you. And that's our opportunity to learn. And when you start framing it like that and seeing it like that, your skills start to improve. People have more respect for you, which means they're more interested in working with you. And you can start a pretty steep incline on improving your business and improving your life. And it's very important to do both simultaneously because we all know we've seen so many realtors get really, really, really good and make a lot of money, and then they're gone from the industry. And that's just classic burnout.
Oh, yeah. You even added that you wouldn't want to be working with someone who's just like really chasing the money itself. But if they're ready to work with a coach like yourself, what advice would you prepare them with so that they can be ready for your coaching style, or even someone who's just in general wanting to get a coach? What do they need to be prepared for?
And I'd rather do it in general. I mean, I'm not actively really looking for coaching clients. I mean, if there's someone out there who really wants to have a highly productive business and wants a thinking partner, then yeah, reach out to me. But I'm not actively looking for clients. But I think coaching is a good thing. And I think there's lots of coaching organizations, but the majority of the coaching organizations, they have a system and they slot you into the system, and then the coach merely holds you accountable to the system. And that's it. That's all it is, right? And so I would say, know that that's what it is, right? See that for what it is. And it's valuable. I would be very careful of an organization that wants to lock you in for 12 months. And the reason they're going to lock you in is because 90% of the people that coach with them want to quit after 2 or 3 months. And financially, it wouldn't work. The company wouldn't be able to run if they didn't lock you in for 12 months. There's something wrong with an organization that forces you into a 12-month contract.
I have a question about that. The way that some of those organizations, I love how you said, see that for what it is, because there are some organizations where they'll have a pre-qual system kind of, and then it's like the purpose is to sell you something else at a higher price point. One of the reasons that I've heard being given for, maybe locking into a 12-month program are that it takes time for the mindset component to develop and kind of be cleaned up a little bit before you can see results.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say about that? Do you think that in some cases it could be more about the mindset and the evolution that a coaching client would go through?
No, I think it's a sales pitch to sell their program. Yeah, I don't make anybody commit to my program or my coach's program. I won't have it.
Yeah.
If I just won't do it because if the coaching isn't meaningful for you, you shouldn't be paying for it. It's expensive. And and you get what happens when people want to stop coaching with a coach because it's not working for them. For whatever reason, it could be the client's fault. The client should say, "No, I don't want the success as much as I thought I wanted it." We're not saying it's always about the coach, but if the client doesn't want to be coached anymore and the client is being forced to be coached, it's going to do them a lot of psychological damage.
Yeah.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, and we, as you know, we ask our 5 rapid fire questions. So we're in this round now. What's your most memorable race on your sailboat?
Oh my God. Just 2 weeks ago, Southern Straits, Overnight race out just off West Vancouver. First overnight race in my big boat. I have two boats. I have a little race boat and I have a bigger race boat. And it was really windy and it was super fun. And we won our division.
Oh,
Nice,
congratulations.
Yeah, it was really good. Thanks.
How many on the team when you're racing?
On the big boat, so I have a Sabre 386, which is a 40-foot boat. We sail with 5 people. And I also have a boat, a J80, which is 26 feet and really raw. It's just a race boat. And we sail with 4 people on that.
Didn't even know that was a thing in
I know.
Vancouver. Okay.
I guess you don't get boat sick.
I mean, I
get
don't have a
sick.
boat,
If your boat could take you anywhere in the world, where would you sail to?
Well, and it's going to take me there. So, we've got this new Starlink internet that's going to be available out in the ocean. And within the next couple of years, I'm going to race the boat over to Hawaii. And then I'm going to carry on from Hawaii and go visit all the South Pacific Islands.
Beautiful.
And teach the negotiation courses from the boat.
I was just going to say, are you teaching from the boat? Cool. You're so cool.
I know.
Seriously. Yeah. If you could sell any celebrity's home, whose would it be?
Oh my God, I don't do celebrities. Oh no.
Artist. It could be an artist. It could be a
Novelist. Playwright.
I'd love to go back in time and sell Steve Jobs' house.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'd like to do.
That's a great answer. I bet
Find
you
some
had
interesting
some kind of
things in
cool
the
tech.
Hidden rooms. I was going to say hidden rooms.
Oh, I was
Never know
talking
what
about
these
tech. If you could give one piece of real estate advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Oh, so many. If I only knew now what I knew then. No, that's not right. If I only knew then what I know now, it would actually, maybe the other's true too. My one piece of advice to myself would really have the discipline to do the business development every day, even if it's just a little bit. But if you did it every day, your entire life would be different. You would just have a beautiful business that you always loved and you always loved working in.
Yeah, great advice.
Mm-hmm. Where can our listeners find you?
Well, thanks for that. So the website is The Nature of Real Estate, and my email address is Suze at The Nature of Real Estate, and I would love to hear from you personally rather than my team. And I have Instagram, which is at The Nature of Real Estate. And any of those places I am at. And I'd love to just field questions if anybody has anything I can do to help.
And one final question. When's your next course starting?
Mm-hmm.
We have a accredited real estate negotiation course happening in the 3rd week of May is the next one.
Are there spots available?
I know they're
Okay.
all sold out. I want to enroll in it. What are the dates? Well, since we have you.
Since you have me, the dates are, I just set it up because the other one's sold out. 23rd, 24th of May is the next accredited real estate negotiator course.
I have something on that date.
Cancel. Thank you, Suze. This
Thanks,
was
Suze.
so good. Of course, any of you listeners, if you have friends or colleagues that are in the business that are needing help on negotiations, tune into this episode, share this episode. We're going to have you back probably presenting at my brokerage. So I'm going to see you very soon. We'll look into that together. This is Suze CUMMING. Thanks for tuning in.
Suze.
Bye.